Welcome to North Tees and Hartlepool Voices, telling the stories of our people and community in our trust.
I'm Elliot Kennedy, and today we go behind the scenes with
Ruth Dalton, Deputy Director of Communications, Engagement and Marketing.
Why are you doing a relaunch of communications and engagement and marketing?
OK, it's a really good question. The communications service within our trust has been here for a number of years now. People across the organisation will link it with Anthem and newsletters, as well as messages about updates and events. But back in 2018, there was a directive to change how we deliver our service and what it should look like moving forward. And after a lot of reshaping and restructuring, some bad, some terrible, in fact, and some good, we've arrived where we are today, and we want to talk about how we now work and what you can expect from us in terms of support.
So what can we expect to see, and how have you got to this point?
Well, hopefully most people across the organisation will have had some link at some point with our team. That might be reading a health and wellbeing magazine, following us on social media, or you might have shared a good news story or two for our website. But we deliver a lot more than that, and we wanted to test if we were getting it right or completely missing the mark. So back in October, we issued a brief survey, invited staff to respectfully give their thoughts on our service. It's all subjective, of course, and working in PR and communications, you become exceptionally thick-skinned. The feedback leaned the majority of the way to a positive view of the service. Staff suggested that there were lots of platforms and channels for them to receive trust news, but they also gave us some really candid feedback about what else they wanted. They want more face-to-face communications, our community staff want more involvement and inclusion, and boy do they love a screensaver. Our job now is to translate that feedback into a service befitting of the trust, and in shaping that we want to talk a little bit more about some of the other work that we deliver.
So beyond the bulletins and the newsletters, what else is the team going to do?
Well, we look after our website. We built our new version earlier this year. We work with our external stakeholders to ensure that they know what's happening in the trust and how they can use their voices to help us. Our political partners and our local authorities, for example. We work with the local, regional and national media. We try exceptionally hard to ensure that we get as much positive coverage as possible, and we're really proud of that. But we also work to support maintaining a good reputation for this organisation, our group and the wider NHS. That's some of the more challenging aspects of our work, really. Most of our media partners are great. They're not all journalists of days gone by, but some are still looking for sensationalist headlines and a scoop, if you will. And if you sit within earshot of my office, you'll hear the rows and challenges made of some of our colleagues on a day-to-day basis. I'll give you one little snippet insight to something that happened during the pandemic. One of our local newspapers printed a headline without any consultation with us about how COVID had hit the University Hospital of Hartlepool. People will remember at that time that wasn't a situation, that Hartlepool was kept for our elective work and making sure that it was a green site, essentially. There were a lot of rows that day with the local editor of that newspaper to pull the headline, which happened. So there's a lot of that negotiation goes on behind the scenes, some stuff that doesn't get to press, perhaps where it would have if our team weren't in place, often happens. So we deal with all sorts of crisis communications, celebratory communications, sometimes, straightforward fact-giving communications. We also now look after engagement, and that's a learning curve. Pleasing 6,000 staff is no easy task, but we keep going.
So what's happening next?
So next, we're looking to share more of our ambitions and our service into the teams that feel that might benefit from our work. So if you've got something you want to share, get in touch. We can give you platforms internally and externally. If you need support with a challenging media issue, give us a call. We look after identity and voice, ensuring that we make North Tees and Hartlepool stories heard. We deliver difficult messages at times, and they can be really hard to land, but we try to do it with respect. We'll be sharing more of our plans in the coming days and weeks, and we would love colleagues from the Trust to get involved.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you, Elliot.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us. Till next time, you've been listening to NTH Voices.